Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Instagrits podcast. My name is Devin Adams, CEO, head coach. I'm determined to inspire. We are here with Professor Hawk. I'm going to keep it classy today. He caught feelings, got mad at me. And I think even David checked me, said, yo, you can't even, how come he get two names? Like, what are you talking about? So I can't call him Groot no more, but I can't call him Big Tree or Big Tree Fall Hard. Professor Hawk, Fundamentals of Credit, Sir Patriclus, Sir Patriclots, Patriclitis. What else we got? Is that all of them?
Mm-hmm.
That's all for now, right? Okay. Yeah. And we're here now with David, a.k.a. He's just he's Cap. He's Captain America. Cap, I got to come up with some more. Black Cat, maybe Black Cat. Captain Black Cat, Black Cat. That's tough. So now, David, you got to wear your Apex shirt. You got to wear a black cap all the time now. Like Black Cat. I think that's doable. Is that, are you comfortable with that request?
That's great. I love it.
I think it's good marketing. I think if you wore like a hat with the black glasses, the black specs, black shirt, black cap, and you Captain America, I just think that works.
Yeah, it's a conversation starter. People are like, what's Black Cat? What you talking about?
If you don't know, then don't ask the question. If you don't know, that means you don't. Yeah. Anyway, I don't feel like frying people. So today, quick shout outs. We got quick shout out to a new friend named Ciara. Ciara's been listening to all the podcasts, been giving great feedback. Also, she has her own dog grooming business where she's traveling all over Philadelphia and New Jersey with like a mobile bus, walking dogs, shampooing them, grooming them, doing all that type of stuff. And she's going hard, entrepreneur. So like I said, a lot of people are going hard. We have a lot of people tuning in, listening. Shout out to her. Shout out to Sasha. Shout out to my brother Dante. He's been listening. My man Deontay's been listening too. Not Dante that you know, Pat. Another one.
I got you.
Yeah. So like I said, everybody's been listening. We've been getting a lot more downloads. So thank you very much. Just continue to support and continue to show that interest because we've changed topics. We used to talk all about basketball all the time, but now we about complete ownership and what is it like to be at peak performance? One of David's words, as a person. If you could be at peak performance and you could be if you could flow like that and operate at a peak level, you're gonna attract certain things and you can do what Patrick says, which is chase your twin to get closer to that person God designed you and who he wants you to be. Everything starts with you. So it covers everything. So we cover a lot here, but it's all about you now and you becoming your best self. How's everybody doing real quick before we get this joint going? Because this is one of the harder topics I think we might be discussing. But how's everybody's day? How you doing, Dave?
You know, I'm good. That's where I'm going to land it. I'm good. You know, I know between all of us on this page, we had a hard conversation last night. But it was a good conversation. Feels like the best conversations are the hard ones. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I had another one, not exactly the same, but a similar idea today with some people. Again, it was a good conversation, but you know, it's time. So
okay,
doing well.
Cap spoke, said it's time. That sounds like something he would say. You know what I mean? And you're someone that whole generational wealth piece, what it really means, what it means to everybody else, and you was getting it in. Yo, Pat, how you feel, man? I know you had a long day.
I'm good. Felt motivated. Long day, but motivated. So.
Oh man, Pat, you don't look too happy though.
Well, I can't fraud. So, not happy. I'm just, you know, I'm a real determined person. So sometimes, certain circumstances give me fuel to just, you know, even be more determined. So that's what today was about. But I'm good, though.
Need some juice?
Nah, I'm all right.
You can make everything better, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, but I'm cool. I got no juice. I got my skinny water over here, so I'm straight.
I got skinnies? Okay, I got the skinnies. SWs. Yo, hey, why you make that face? You good? Oh, man. Yo, Patrick, can Dave hear us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you fried me. You fried me like 4 times on like live, so that's cool. Like that's okay. It's cool. There's no problem.
You're asking Patton why he made that face. I don't know, Devin.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm just saying, like, you fried the hell out of me, and that's okay. It was funny. I was talking to nobody apparently, but we're gonna get right to the point because this one is one of the ones we've been actually kind of somewhat requested, or even people are more curious to hear a men's perspective on it. And we're going to be sensitive to our viewers like we usually are, but we also going to have to keep it 100 because I just saw Patrick roll his eyes when I said that. Pat, we got to accommodate. You got to be accommodating.
Okay.
But the truth never goes anywhere. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't go anywhere either. And this isn't necessarily us accommodating. It's just about us giving the information from our perspective. What's great about this is Patton has strong feelings about certain things. David does. I do as well. But I think the synergy, we always trying to float in that whole middle area where we understand where each person's coming from.
Yeah.
And the topic for today is that whole word. Where does it even stem from? The whole word of submissive when it comes to being in relationships. Because this happened about a month ago, Pat. Do you remember the origins or the genesis? That's the cool word. The genesis of this topic. Why do we do this? Or did I bring it up?
Yeah, I think you brought it up. We were talking about a conversation. We had a conversation with somebody, and they brought up that whole submissive thing, and you know why such taboo in relationships. Why it's looked upon like some people are okay with it, the majority of women aren't okay with it, and why, and all of that type of stuff. So that started a interesting conversation.
And then we started rabbit holing, like going down. It was like, yo, well, how does Beyonce play into it? Oh, I respect her, but that whole independent woman thing and pay my bills and that whole little thing, great music. I love it.
Systematic.
Okay, but when I heard it when I was younger, I started even thinking when I was younger. I don't know how I feel about that for real. And I was like 15 or how old were we? I don't even remember. I don't want to make up a number.
Teenagers, yeah, teenagers. I'm sure.
Dave, you want to jump in real quick?
No, I'm watching this develop, and I'm jump in soon.
Perfect. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that word submissive, what it looks like in relationships from a male's perspective to a certain degree. But what's great is we all three of us have different perspectives. What's also super fantastic is that these two are very well read, and it gives me a position to learn a little bit more too about the origins of it. And so I'm going to be a person listening as well. I'm going to chime in. I have my thoughts, but I'm actually going to probably try to play devil's advocate a little bit, just for the sake of conversation and to make sure this thing doesn't get, too crazy. And it won't. I'm just saying that. Say it. Go, Dave. What are you gonna say?
No, so growing up in church.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You hear about a lot, right? And people will talk about different things. You'll hear a lot of key phrases that can become in today's world with so many. I don't know what the word is. They're not even thoughts. They're like
blurred lines,
but also like trends that people haven't thought about. But if you have a political affiliation, or if you consider yourself to be progressive, or if you consider yourself to be maybe even people always say, what do they say? Oh man, I can't even think of the term. But if you're progressive, or if you support, you think of yourself as a person who supports women, or something like this, then somehow you can't have other thoughts. So what can happen, I'm noticing, is it's hard to even explore your thoughts. Well, and the things that you might have learned growing up, and even have a real conversation, because of the fact that you will get closed down immediately if you say the wrong thing. So I'm thinking about that even as I approach this. But what I want to say is I grew up in a Christian household, Baptist, and they definitely use the word submit.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be out with it. I'm 39 years old. That's what it was. And I don't have the exact quote, Pat, and you might have it, but they talked about women, you have to submit to your husbands.
It's not a comfortable word. Let's keep it 100%, Dave. That submissive makes everybody feel like they're subservient or at a sub level.
Well,
right?
But I'm not done. I'm getting there.
I put it in the context. Yeah.
Submit to your context. Women, submit to your husbands. Husbands, love your wives. And you have to remember this kind of stuff was written and interpreted and retranslated over and over again thousands of years ago. So one thing you have to do is you have to consider the source and the culture, but you also have to consider the actual words being used.
Correct.
So in a way, I always looked at it like this. For those of us who have a family.
I'm smiling because I'm not talking right now. I'm listening.
Those of us who have a family, maybe you got some kids, you're married, you have a wife. what the deal is, if you're locked into your family, you gave up a lot in order to serve these people.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, when the call was made on husbands to love their wives, that's what they meant. That actually means, okay, look.
Oh, Big She making faces.
This is a person who's different than you. This is a person who's going to make decisions, maybe not exactly the way that you would, might come from a different family than you do. And your job is to love them. And back in the day, that meant you would kill for them. That meant that this was an honor thing.
Or be killed for them, yes.
Or be killed for them, exactly. That was it. And women, submit to your husbands. Well, what that means is there's a head of the household. And everybody has different roles. So traditionally, the man's role was to actually be the antenna to God, literally.
Agreed.
So if there was a person in the house, if there was a decision to be made that was difficult, something that might even be a life-changing decision or something like this, a huge financial decision, not the way that we think about finances now, but literally like, all right, we got to up and leave and go with these nomads over here and change our whole life or something like that because there's a war brewing over here. Life was different. Then what the husband had to do was go and be with God for a little while. Go and be with God, get the message, come back and say, this is what I think we need to do. This is how we need to operate.
Yeah. And
it was the woman's job to support her husband in that decision.
See, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Context is so important here because that husband love your wives is pretty clear. That's straightforward and clear, right? Why is it that it's such an issue with wives submit to your own husbands? And I think it's because of the connotation of the word submit has been retranslated or venerated over the years to kind of mean subservient or almost slave-like or, worship to. But all it means, support was a great word. All it really means in the biblical context is that you respect your husband and you allow him to lead.
And what was it real quick? Ephesians what?
Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands. Now, I always thought about that. Like, why would it say your own husbands? That's another topic for another day. I won't go off on that tangent. But that word submit literally just means respect and allow him to lead. What's so...
Nobody hears that now, though. Nobody hears that in the West.
I've heard women in church submit. What? Submit? I ain't submitting to no man. But then when the husbands love your wife, that's right. That's what y'all supposed to do. It's like, wait a minute.
Because it's a less aggressive word. That kind of means the same thing, right? Love and it's bad, but submissive is a very, very aggressive word, bro.
But it's only because of the connotation. It just means respect and allow them to lead. It's really only because of the connotation.
And I agree with you.
If you study it and you look at
what
it translates to in the Greek language and what our word for it is.
Oh, the Greek.
It's kind of it doesn't mean the same thing.
I have to jump in, which I usually do anyway, because I'm rude. I'm realizing I'm very rude. And y'all put up with a lot with me, so I'm sorry. But I know y'all. I think this is important though. Yeah. David and Patton, all straight face, all seriousness. How would we black men feel? And I'm gonna use the word prideful, which isn't a good thing. How we feel if we read something that said, "Men be submissive to your."
It does.
Wife.
It says that in the Bible.
Not that word though.
Not the wife. No, it says, "Submit yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you in due time."
No, that's
so. Because it's to a person.
You don't. That's not. It's different, Patton. David, you know it's different. Patton, submit right now to your wife.
You said
David,
the word.
Submit to your wife. men, and then men love your wife. That word would have something that we will feel some type of way too. No, submit.
Listen, no. Here's what I want to say.
Come on, Pat.
Devin, I know where you're going, Patton. I believe I understand what you're saying, and I want to reiterate what Patton's saying, but also I want to move a little bit forward too. So,
Captain America.
This is the thing. 4,000 years ago, this is a done deal. We want things to work a certain way.
Right.
4,000 years ago, if you had a child who had a disability, you might leave him on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know alarm bells are going to go off and, oh my God, no.
It's not 4,000 years ago.
4,000 years, but this when this was written. So let me finish.
Go ahead.
This was written at a different time, okay? So the way the household worked, whether you like it or not, was that there was levels. And I'm not saying that to you, Devin. I'm saying anybody. And the man was the head of the household, period. That's not even like an argument about the way that's the way that it was.
So we forget that we're following the rules that were written thousands of years ago.
So now here's the thing, though.
Okay.
What does that mean now? And this is the thing that I want to say that's really important, because you will hear people say, and I'm going to agree. I've had discussions with people who have talked to me about toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm like, all right, so what is toxic masculinity? And they'll say, we'll talk in circles, and the answer is masculinity.
Ooh.
Wow.
See, now, then you'll hear people maybe about 20, 30 years older than me that say, men don't even know how to be men anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the problem. This is a major problem. I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I'm saying here's what's happened.
Okay.
Because of many different circumstances, which I feel like we could have 6 podcasts about, women have felt the need and have, in some cases, needed to become what was historically the man and maintain what was historically the woman. This is something this is a message that has been sent.
Okay.
And the hard part now, just look at a school. Look at male behaviors. I'm sorry. I know that, but you can use the rule of 5s, right? For every 5 behaviors, 4 of them are going to be stereotypical and fit. So when I say typical male behaviors, I mean being rambunctious, I mean maybe throwing things, being a little louder, being a little more hyperactive, maybe not being able to pay attention for the full 40 or 90 minutes or whatever it is as they're growing up. These behaviors are punished. You are punished for exhibiting behaviors that at a certain point in human development were absolutely necessary for survival.
Mm-hmm.
We're confused right now. I'm sorry, we just are. And I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong.
Who's confused?
All of us.
Okay, just trying to follow. Go ahead.
About what tell me right now what a good man is, and I will find 10 people who will argue against what you say, and they're going to have 10 different perspectives about what a man should be. I
agree. I did research on it already, but I want to get Patrick. Patrick's looking like he's eager to jump in a little. Go ahead, Pat. So yeah, go ahead.
No. I mean, I think you're right. I think, if you jump forward 4,000 years, I mean, that's a long time. I mean, we can get into, I don't want to make it a race thing, but just, where society has taken what we would call core values and kind of distorted them and rewritten them. And, because, I mean.
Go down that rabbit hole, Patrick. You can.
Okay. Well, I mean, what's normal today and what's being accepted and what's being forced to be accepted today was outlawed when this stuff was written.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, that rabbit hole is like, okay,
it's a deep rabbit hole, bro.
Yeah, masculinity is not the flavor of the day. Let me say that. Masculinity is not the flavor of the day. It's a feminist society now.
Masculinity and submissiveness aren't words that we They're not popular words right now.
No.
But they
No.
both, one applies to us and one applies to women. And it's funny you just said it. I never thought about that really, but I agree with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you said one applies to us and one applies to women.
Yeah, we don't like to hear like, yo, this whole masculine, like we're masculine, but it has a negative connotation because now they're putting toxic in it. Us just being us isn't always good all the time, according to the Western traditions, history, things like that. It comes across as toxic. However, we don't like the word based off of oral tradition in 4,000 years.
Yeah, I don't even want to go down the toxic slope, but
we did that. Go back to that Tune In Our podcast.
But to me, that toxic can also is like an AKA for overly masculine. Like you can't be too masculine. What the hell is too masculine? Either you masculine or you're not. Like, why is it such a problem? Nobody has a problem with being overly feminine.
I mean, he's gonna say that.
No, seriously. I mean, because that's just the truth. You either feminine or you're not. There's no. Have you ever heard toxic femininity?
No, there's. You're 100% right about the. That's why. Have you all ever heard of the womanist movement versus the feminist movement?
No, not that comparison. No.
There's a reason why this is a hot button for us on this,
and
it's because we are not the dominant ones. So everybody talks about intersectionality and all this kind of stuff, and it's like there's scarcity for actually being treated correctly, right?
There's a scarcity for wanting to be treated correctly, just
for being treated correctly.
Yeah.
Like if you're right, like right now, so George Floyd gets killed, all of a sudden Black people matter. You see what I'm saying?
And also today too, historically, let's look out for our guy today. Hopefully he recovers. Blake family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is now everybody's aware of it. So it's like people are paying attention, right? But that's at the cost of some other group that's being oppressed, because now everybody's in the Black thing. The womanist movement basically supports women, but not at the expense of Black men.
What?
So the idea is that we're all hurting, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you hear things like strong Black women, but you don't hear beautiful, strong Black women, there's a reason for that. And it's because of a systematic approach to everything. So women got to be strong. So now if you're a strong Black woman, right? And I feel like this is a history lesson, then you're good, strong, but then now you'll actually hear Black women, and I think rightly so, complain against that, because there's no discussion of their actual beauty. It's just strength, right? And at the same time, what are we as Black men applauded for? We're applauded for speaking clearly and for being good fathers.
That's it.
Speaking clearly and being good fathers.
That's the kind of. So it's. And so if you know, it doesn't take much. You got to look at it and you got to see, they did a number on us. And if we mess up, then what will happen is we will fight for our piece of the pie separately, when in fact, so all this distraction about
like a mug right now.
Submit or don't or whatever. Because the thing is, you have cultural differences. Come on. Like you can't take a bunch of people from a different country, bring them through wherever you bring them through, and then
I say the same thing.
You're talking about assimilation, right? If you're not supposed to assimilate, then maybe I'm going to do family different than you're going to do family, and we have to be. And I'm not telling you what's right and what's wrong, but we have to be okay with what we do, because the second you step out the door, you're going to have people in your ear distracting you. If you're okay with what you're doing in your home, then you're okay with what you're doing in your home.
Say that again, then, because what you just said was.
That's it.
I'm not even being funny. Could you say that again? Can you say that again, please, Dave? I'm sorry.
I don't even know what I said.
If you're okay, go ahead.
Basically, I'm just saying we are trying to take on too much, and it's a distraction.
Damn, bro.
And
you separate. Yeah.
If you're talking about the sanctity of marriage, right? And you're walking this tightrope where you're trying to do it in the Bible that was given to you in the one place where you were allowed to talk and sing, which was on the plantation on Sunday by your white master, then don't sit here and tell me that you can talk to me about feminist ideals and all of this stuff and mess with something that might be working for me. I don't know. Maybe what it is that we're going to figure it out on our own, and what looks like masculinity for one family and what looks like supporting the women in one might look a little bit different, and what we're all comfortable with is what we're all comfortable with, because every couples know that we're completely different, and we're comfortable with different things.
Hold on.
We shouldn't be made to feel like we're doing something wrong if it works for the two of us.
Ooh, somebody brought that to my attention a few years back, and that made me think when she said that.
Right. So
go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I don't want to knock women in the least or anything like that. And
I don't think it across that way though.
As a man, I do definitely have blind spots and everything else. But we're talking about two completely different things. You could talk about how I speak to women and everything in the workplace or behind closed doors. And if I respect my wife and I love her, then she is represented in the relationship, and I am clear on what her expectations are.
Well, Pat.
So go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, that was deep. That was getting worked up.
Nah, seriously. You know how I feel about this one, but
go ahead. I'm gonna get some juice.
Dave, when you said it's you were talking about it being systemic and systematic, deterioration on the sanctity of marriage, I guess you can call it. Not, again, don't want to go down the rabbit hole, right?
Right.
But I have a question, and I almost want to wait till Dev comes back. I know where I'm going with the question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask it of you two anyway. Besides Black, African American, whatever you want to call it, what other race of men have such an overt problem with their women being submissive?
It's pain attached to it historically, which David just already went down.
I said that. That's why I said that.
We're the only, well, the question could be, are we the only race that has that painful lineage attached to the Bible?
Wait a minute. No.
I can ask that question too.
No, you can, but that's not what I'm saying is it's not even about the no.
Yeah.
Are we the only race that have an issue with our women being submissive?
We're the only race that has problems with interpreting the Bible the same way. And we're the only people that have been taken. It's just historical. No, Patton. I'm not even trying to argue right now.
I get you. No, it's not about. But I get that point.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ask one more.
I get that point. I'm just trying to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because it's systematic though. Like you don't see it being such an issue in other cultures. Okay. Like what Dave was talking about. For example, Asians. I've heard Asians say they can't really talk. They don't do this. They don't do that. In other cultures, women are kind of like, you bring me the food, you go in the room, you shut up. If it's company in here, you really only get that
text?
No, that's our alarm.
Okay.
You really only get that push in our community through the music, through like the Beyonce, the independent woman and all of that. Like you really only get that from us. Like we have to prove, first off, our masculinity, if you want to talk about, through the Bible and the slavery and all of that, our masculinity was always at the core of a lot of that trauma. Our masculinity. So I'm saying, why? Like men were castrated.
Right.
If you looked at a white female, you were castrated. What does one have to do with the other? And we had that conversation too. Like it's all about the male genitalia and all of that. But I'm just asking the simple question, like, why is it that our culture seems to have the largest issue with women being submissive?
Well, can I offer one quick thing?
Sure.
I mean, because I think you know the answer, and
I do.
I'm
Sure.
going to say that submissive is a triggering word.
Sure.
So I don't want to speak for you, but another way to ask your question, which kind of answers it, is in what other group of males are we being emasculated on a regular basis
Yeah.
as much? Like I'm not, what I'm saying is there's this interesting competition for the exact same thing
Mm-hmm.
among Black people.
Yep.
And it's a hard fight. And
Almost impossible.
as a husband, as a son, as a person who does my best to be as respectful as I can to all of my elders, I notice that something is off in terms of communication and expectations and the power dynamic in terms of there's a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of, I'm not saying if anybody's listening to my words that there's this struggle for being at the top and men should be at the top. I'm saying literally there's a struggle for just respect.
Yep.
And that's a real thing. And another question that you could ask is, what other group of people had their start in this country by literally having the couples of the families purposely separated?
Yeah.
Purposely separated because the males were a little stronger and you could take them and move them around. And so because of the culture in this country, they kept the women with the kids. So mama had to become the man.
So you're making my point.
Not because of something that the Black man did.
Always about making his point.
No,
But
y'all both are.
Because the family unit had to continue.
Right.
And mama had to become the man.
Yep.
Now, I'm sorry, that's so controversial.
Sure it is.
But the slave master kept the woman. I'm going to say it again. It's important to hear this. The slave master purposely kept the woman with the family unit because they knew that was their way. They were thinking woman, family, man, work.
Take the strong man out. Yeah.
They moved them around. In the absence of the Black father,
same design.
the Black mother becomes the Black father. And I propose
and they make songs about
that problem is still here. And so when you have people who are very progressive, they can't hear, they don't understand. It's the same bullshit that we deal with. If you haven't been through it, you don't understand it. So now you're gonna sit and say, well, that's backwards thinking. And how can you do, you don't, listen to rewind the tape and listen to what I just said.
Yeah.
And then tell me another group that's been through that.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna push this thing forward because what y'all both just said now goes right to y'all next question because I'm not married. But so what does that person look like to you? And I'm gonna use the word because of how we've established this already. I'm gonna use the word submissive. What does that look like to have in your household, Patton? Maybe David, if y'all feel like sharing. What does that look like to you personally? Because it's subjective. But what is your relationship with that word submissive and your wife? What does that look like to you? Because I don't have a wife, but I still have a different definition of how I would want to have it in my relationship. Not based off of the negative connotations, but just based off of today's, how we are today. Do you know what I mean or no? I'm not as
I got you. I got exactly what
So what does that look like in your house really quickly? And then we'll sum this up. And David, what does it look like in your house? That word submissive. It's a loaded question.
I mean, everybody's situation is different because people are just by nature different. But submissive in my household, and as I was
we talked about this, and I like how you answered, Patton.
Yeah, as it relates to my wife, it's really just about respect.
Sure.
And even if you don't agree, my household is a Christian household. I can't speak for anybody else's, but even if you don't agree with the decision that's made, you trust the fact that I'm going to talk to God myself about whatever decision is being made.
Because you're connected to a source.
So you trust not so much that your trust is in me. Your trust is in the God that's within me to make the correct decision.
Okay.
And you allow me to, or my wife allows me to lead. That's what submissive is. Submissive doesn't mean my dinner better be ready at 8 o'clock. I don't want no problems. All my clothes need to be clean. You got to get, that's a slave. That's not what a wife is. And if I follow that,
that was tough.
follow that command that Dave gave, which is husbands love your wives, then there should be no problem with submission. Because if I'm loving you, you're not going to be in a subservient to me. I'm going to take care of you. So then it's easy for you to allow me to lead. It's simple.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing. First of all, you said something. I don't even remember what you said, but I said, ooh, when you said it.
I don't remember either.
It's okay. David, do you remember what I said that to? It was something, it was like 3 words he said. But I know, nah, good job. Well said. I agree with you, but I do like how you framed it, and it's subjective.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Dave. Like, let's go. Let's wrap this up.
First thing I want to say is the stuff in the Bible, most of it is not the recipe for being mediocre. Right?
Indeed.
So it requires constant work. And even in the context from 4,000 years ago, this wasn't how to be an okay family. This was how to be what God expects of you.
So that's
good. This is how to plan, bro. Right? So now here's the thing, ready? Now we're going to fast forward. I'm going to be a little more politically correct. There's some confusion. There's a lot of stuff. So I'm not even going to use the word submissive, Devin, but I know where you're going. So the question, what does it look like in my household? 1, each party is free to be who they are. We're being genuine. We're actually being ourselves. No lies. We are who we are. We have strengths and we have weaknesses and we have in between.
Okay.
I'm agree with Patton. It's respectful. It's respectful. And that's both sides, right? You got to be respectful. And then the most important part if you are who you are, truly, and you're being respectful, it's back to, this is aspirational. If you're talking about Bible stuff, then that requires constant work on yourself. It doesn't work if you're not constantly working on yourself, because then trust is lost. So again, you have to be who you are in the relationship, right? And I'm saying that because the definition and the name game and everything else that we have right now, okay, so who you are. Once we have established who we are respectful in those roles and in those lanes. And then finally, we are constantly working on who we are, because how can I trust you if I don't believe you that you're working, then now it all falls.
Yep.
So it has to be that mutual respect, but that mutual trust that we're working on who we are. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't look like just staying in our lanes and not talking. That's regular communication. True. Hey, can you tell me about this? I didn't approach you about that when it happened because I know this is your lane. You know what I mean? But now that the kids are in bed, I need to go over that because that didn't work for me. And it could be me, it could be you, it could be something that we need to work on. Let's talk. Let's have a talk. Is that going to work for you? You know what I mean? Based off of the routines that we've built, can we talk? I'm not getting in your face trying to tell you how worthless you are. I'm just telling you that didn't work for me, and I would love when it works so that's what it is. And that's on both sides. But if we are both being who we are, Devin, then one person is going to be a little less maybe in your face about it. And one person's going to be a little more like, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to think about this for a second. And then I'm going to figure out how to approach you. One person might need to walk away feeling like their partner appreciates them and what they bring. And one person might need to walk away feeling like their partner appreciates the ensemble that they put together today.
Oh, so you're on your love language type.
But I'm saying whatever, we could call that whatever we want to call it.
Oh, language.
But if we're being free to be who we actually are, not what society tells us that we should be,
authentic,
not what we learned in some DEI training, but actually who we actually are comfortable with ourselves as being.
Taking the time to do that.
Yeah, a relationship is it's constant work until death.
Yep.
It's constant work until death. All right, I said it. I feel like I'm gonna start preaching if I don't shut my mouth. So
it's all right, bro. No, I don't even want to make a comment on it. What I will say before I go to Patton about McDonald's and SAFE, the acronym SAFE, is I will just say, listening to you two, because I'm not married at all. I'm still in this life of, trying to attract the right partner, right? But when y'all say what y'all say, it makes me think about it a little bit heavier, what I need to have in my relationship and what are my pillars, you know what I mean? So, but I've never said this, but I've always, Patton, I might have told you, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, that Trinity, I think it just belongs in the house.
Indeed.
Father, we're men, we're the father. Son just means kid to me, right? It's the kids. Holy Spirit is that wife. But the Holy Spirit influences man. And having that type of trio, that type of Trinity in a household, I think is that how you build, right? We talk about how you build a relationship, how you feed off of one another, and how you communicate with one another in a household. Even if you aren't religious, that whole thing, for some reason, I don't know, it's just always stuck with me. That whole Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That's the correct balance. You know I'm about balance and accountability. Mm-hmm. And if you messing up, guess what? The Holy Spirit is gonna say, yo, you know what? You might want to try it this way. But if you trust that partner of yours, and okay, cool, let me go pray to my source, or let me go to my source. Give me some minutes, give me some times, give me some moments, and I'll come back with a decision. Yep. Easier said than done, though. Lord knows. Lord knows. I'm not even laughing when I said that. Easier said than done, but that's always spoke to me. But no, thank y'all for sharing that, because it is subjective. It's never going to look the same. But I appreciate what you said, Dave, especially with saying, hey, look, it might look different for me in my house than yours. So don't put that on me. Don't put your 4,000-year stagnant mindset on me based off of principles that were established back then where people were hunters and gatherers. Let's move it forward. And what was your, Patton, I'm sorry, what was your, it's a very good analogy. David hasn't heard this yet, but what did you say about the McDonald's? You said McDonald's, and then we're going to end this with everybody, drum roll. If I could do a drum roll, I would. For the women out there, we're going to end this with the top 4 things you can do to keep.
Ain't even the top.
I know, it's not the top. Patton.
Sorry. I had to correct you, bro.
David.
You said I could check you. Oh, that's over now?
This shit been over.
Well, I did it anyway. It don't matter.
Nah, but we're going to give you 4 things that we actually think, because men are trained to try to keep a woman, and I'm going to say trained.
Oh, God.
Oh, good. I'm glad he said that. But we're also going to give y'all 4 things that you can do to keep your man. Because we're men, and that's just the podcast we had. Got Star-Lord. Oh, shit.
Cap. So you keep messing up, man. What's wrong with it?
I'm sorry. Thank you for checking me. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Humble pie. Give me a couple slices. So what was your welcome to? What was your McDonald's analogy? Because you said it already offline, but I want to hear it again and really listen. And I think it'll be good for David to hear it too, and all of us.
It has to do with this question that I've been asking. Just in relationships, and then I saw a buddy of mine posted on Instagram, and the question is,
I've seen it too.
Right. In terms of requirements for a relationship to blossom and take place.
Hold on, David. David, go.
What do women have to bring to the table as opposed to men? And so I was having a conversation with my mom. And
how's your mom? She's a real one, yo.
Yeah. That's why I spun it to her. I said, okay. I said, try this example out. I said, we'll take McDonald's, right? Young lady works behind the counter. Brother comes in. She takes his order. He thinks she's pretty, nice looking, whatever. He says, listen, after she takes the order, when you get off, I want to take you out. Here's my number. They go out, have a good time. That's it. Not even nothing crazy. But they do make it to go out and have a good time.
Got you.
Reverse it. Guys behind the counter
Uh-oh.
at McDonald's. Young lady comes in. He takes her order, thinks she's pretty, says, listen, when I get off, I'd like to take you out. Could I have your number? She laughs, takes her food, walks away. Very realistic example. What's the difference? Why did it end so differently? Was my question to my mom, right? And the first thing my mom said is, well, that sounds like a status thing. And I said, okay, what do you mean? She said, well, I guess the girl thinks because he's working in fast food, he doesn't have any status, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. And I said, okay.
It's important to him.
I said, but when the roles were reversed, she didn't have any status, but it was fine. They made it to the date. So what are we really saying here? And so I know the answers to it forwards and backwards.
Don't want to say it.
I'm putting the question out here because I want to hear y'all chomp into it. I want to hear Dave because he never heard that example. So I want to hear Dave chomp into that. What's the difference? And then we can go into it.
Well,
because this answer is going to be harsh coming from me.
But like I said, we gotta get to safe. So we got Dave.
We're gonna get to safe. This is gonna be quick.
No, I'm just trying time. I'm sorry, Pat. My bad.
I got you.
Jeez.
We could look at it from a few different angles. I mean, the discussion we've been having,
mm-hmm.
I could go pretty deep, and it's related to what we've been talking about. But
sure.
If I pull back and remove the racial lens just for one moment,
mm-hmm.
get into evolutionary psychology.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about that first date, right? Like if we go back to hunter-gatherer, the man is using his eyes to select somebody. He's also trying a few things out and seeing how she responds. Kind of might say a joke, something corny, whatever. Say, like, how do you just a real kind of simple litmus? Like, oh, all right, this could work. All right, cool. Let's figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
The woman is looking for security. She is looking for status.
She is.
She's trying to set
the gate
something up. There's a difference. Now, people will argue and say that's not true, but I don't. And then from there, I actually just shut my mouth.
Same thing, David. They say that. You're right.
Yeah. If that's not true, then I can't talk to you because I don't know what world you live in. But
right.
If we're talking about everything I've ever seen growing up, whenever I was in the game before I got married, that's
what it is.
4 out of 5 times, I'll say 4 out of 5 times, that's what it is.
Pat, why you make that face?
Why make what face?
I don't know. You make some faces over there when he says, not status, but when he said security.
Well, I mean, it's true. And it's another rabbit hole. I just don't want to go down.
No, I thought you made the face because you didn't agree.
No, I definitely agree.
But okay.
Women come to the table with that. But like we were talking about offline, that example, like, well, what's security to you?
Women don't have to come to the table as much as a black man.
No, women don't have to come to the table with anything.
Whoa, say that again? I'm sorry?
Nothing.
So women don't have to come to the table with anything, but
Nothing.
A man has to come to the table with all these requirements.
Yes.
Based off of status, based off of...
Yes.
So if a man has to come with all of those requirements,
mm-hmm.
how does a woman have nothing that she needs to come with?
That's a great damn question.
And I don't know. I'm gonna push on that because I don't know if a woman would. So one thing that I think a woman would say that she has to come with is the physical aspect.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna say that there is definitely a hierarchy for looks that is recognized. Wow, now I'm getting real to a territory now where I have to be. I'm trying to say how to say this.
Come on.
I have spoken to women who discuss the hierarchy among other women about looks.
Okay.
So it's now I'm going to say men get into this as well. I'm not saying we're out of it for sure. But what I'm saying is women feel like what they need to bring to the table. And I'm going to say, especially as they get into their mid 30s and 40s. Did I just freeze?
No, we're listening.
Okay. Is that there's a competition with younger women.
Mm.
So there's this thing about having a fresh face and maybe gravity got to you a little bit less and everything else. And there's this, because I would argue that if we're talking about males and females, each of us is aware of what the other one is aware of.
I want to pose this tonight. This is great.
Maybe on a subconscious level. So there's something about status, because, and I used to say this, and I don't know if I think about it now as a father, right? I have kids, so it's different. But I believe that men, from the time that they start going through puberty till, I don't know, maybe always, do most of the things that they do for sex.
What? Yeah,
Now, it's weird because it's not exactly that, and I'm going to make us all, that's like some behind the curtain stuff that I don't even know if I should have said that, because then you'll be like, see, I told you men are dogs, and that's not really what I'm saying. But I'm saying,
what are you saying?
One of the greatest accomplishments that men have figured out are because they're trying to be valuable.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And they understand their value directly affects their attractiveness. And I think women are doing the same thing, but it's a different list of things that create value.
I agree.
That's where I got argued though, bro.
Okay.
That's where I got, and I'm not.
Do we have time? Hold on. Do we have time to do this? What time is it?
10 seconds. 10 seconds. I'm not saying this to be insensitive. I'm saying it based off of what I've seen.
Male perspective, everybody. Instant grits.
Yeah, I'm respect. So when Dave, when you were saying about looks, my grandma would be mad at me if I said it this way.
Shout out to grandma.
So yeah, she's in heaven. If I've seen people who may not be as high on the look totem pole still turn somebody down, and it's like, how you turn me down? You're not even like,
you ain't a real one.
Like, so that's what I'm saying. So that still didn't stop the guy from trying to talk to her. It's like, wait, you turning me down? You're not even on the cover of a magazine. Like you. So
what are you trying to say?
That challenges my thinking that makes me firm in my belief that women really don't have to bring anything to the table in order for that process to start.
So in order for the process to start, the courting process,
yes,
a man has to have a little bit more, right? That's all.
A lot more.
Okay, but I want people to understand. You're talking about the courting process, the initiation. We're not talking about marriage and having a wife.
Well, you don't even get there without that.
Okay, cool. I'm just trying to make sure there's a delineation between that.
And you don't even get there without that.
In the courting process, men gotta have a little bit more than the youngins. People get mad at me when I say that's a DC term. Than the young women or the women in that first initiational stage of dating.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it looks like when it comes to having a wife, that respect, support, and allowing me to lead because I'm connected to a source, AKA, or also known as I have an antenna pointing to God, is what's really important when you have a wife. Or when you're in a, say that again, I'm sorry.
Foundationally, yes. There's still other factors, but the foundation, yes.
And since you're rolling right now, Patton, before we end this, respect, support, and leading with that antenna pointing to God, that can be valuable, you think, in a relationship before you're even married as well.
Absolutely.
David, do you give another absolutely to that too?
You said a lot of things, so I'm not even sure if I agree with. I mean, I agree with the gist of this conversation is what I'm going to say.
Respect, support, and leading.
You have to understand what I'm like. This is heavy. But what I'll say is this. What I'll say is, what I know, it's harder for me to honestly, like when I was in my early 20s, it's actually harder for me to remember that right now. But I can tell you that I understood that a large part of my value had to do with how I was being perceived in the moment.
Absolutely.
And that whether or not people like how it sounds, the person who rolled up in the nice car had a better shot than the person who doesn't. The person who had on nicer clothes had a better shot than the person who didn't. The person who, you know, people knew was making more money for sure had a better shot.
You're talking about men, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I can, so, but I do think that was a game that was being played on both sides. But I think in the initial dating, and I'm going all the way back to college for initial, like, what is this about? I'm sorry, but for men, it was about sex. So like when I'm in college, I might be looking for a wife and I might not be.
Stop.
And
there's science to this, and that's going to be one of these other topics.
But I think what happens is when you're in college, and again, this goes back to society, you are more, if I'm a guy, right, and I'm talking about my exploits and what happened and everything else, people are going to expect that of me in college. For women, there is a risk, actually, of being called a hoe.
True indeed.
I don't know if that's even okay to say. So as a result, what happens in that initial dating thing, you get some tension that isn't even, because I believe that more women wanted sex than they were willing to act like they did.
Bingo.
Science behind some of that. I'll share that.
Yeah. So, but you couldn't be out there with it like that. But now, fast forward, I'm 39. I'm in a relationship. I've been, married since 2008, and I've been with the same person for, maybe 17, 18 years, because we dated before we got married. And what I can tell you now is that we both need to feel valued. And again, whatever that means. And if that's not happening, you got problems. You have real, actual problems. Because human beings want to feel valued. And if they don't, they start looking for value in other places. I'm not saying it's not sneaky. It can be sneaky, but that's not like some kind of underhanded thing. It's just that there's a limit to what we can deal with. Life is hard. We got stuff coming at us all the time. And when you have devoted yourself to a partner for the rest of your life, then the two of you have to feel like the other person values you.
True indeed.
That is number one. If that's not happening, and whatever your value is, you're in trouble.
Because people need to feel valued in different ways. It ain't just like, I value. Like this is how you show your value, and that's going to push us to our next one. Where we go over SAFE, what that acronym stands for a man. Because if you can show that, then at least from our perspective, a man will feel safe, and he will do everything he could and everything he can do to make sure that you feel loved and give you the world that these amazing Black women deserve.
Listen,
go ahead, because we're about to wrap
up. Men are simple.
Thank you, bro.
Listen, this is 4 out of 5 again. This is 4 out of 5.
Both of y'all. No.
This is 4 out of 5. If somebody, and again, I'm being so careful with my language. I'm saying men are simple, but now I'm saying somebody.
Hurry up.
If somebody tells me good job, my chest puffs up.
Hey, man.
It's simple.
Goddamn right.
It's not even anything. It's ridiculous. I even know how ridiculous it is, and still it works.
Somebody told me I did a good job the other day, David. I shined my nails. I did like this. I said, I did do a very good job.
So if somebody says, you know what? I noticed that you did that thing, and I like how you did it. Thank you. Boom. What else do you want me to do? I'll run 26 miles. I don't even need the car to go do it. Exactly. Watch this next thing I can do.
Car, Dave?
You won't believe what I can do. That's it. If you want somebody to work forever for you.
They're nuggets.
Everything.
Are nuggets.
Then all you got to do is make them feel valued, and you won.
David,
You want to trick your man,
You're
giving him everything.
all right.
Make him feel like he's valuable. The more value that you show him, and this is if he's a good man. If he's bad, get rid of him. Who cares? Because he's a loser. But if he's a good man and you can make him feel valuable, you won. That's it. It's over.
All right, that's it. This has to stop, Patton. I'm sorry. This has to stop right now.
No,
right
safe. You got to go over it. They need it.
Damn it. What's your name? Patrick? No, we can't do that right now. We ran out of time. What time is it? Yeah, we ran out of time. So that's going to have to be the next one because that's exactly what we're going to focus on.
Oh, man.
Because like I said, y'all was going in. I didn't want to interrupt. But y'all was going.
But safe is that's the key.
Safe is the key. Safe is the key. There's a relationship between there too, right? Y'all get it? You get it? Patrick, you get it?
I get it.
Safe and the key. You get it? No?
I get it.
Yeah, it's a safe and it has a key.
Has a key.
So
you gotta stop, David. No, David. No.
So it's the next podcast.
No.
Next podcast is safe, right?
We gotta go over saving value. I just hit my cat in the head. She was asleep right here. I got her so excited. I just mushed her ass right to the ground, and she's already close. So she's trying to breathe right now. I wish I could see her. She's hiding now. I literally just punched her in the head. And that's your fault. I'm blaming you two for that. I'm blaming because y'all got me hyped. No, we're gonna have to go over that later. That's gonna be the next episode. Okay. Patrick, are you gonna be okay? Can you literally just wait another 24 hours? That's all I'm asking you to do. David did it for his name change. All I'm asking you to do is just have some respect, please. That's all I'm asking. Just respect. You want respect. You just said you want it in relationships. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't say I wanted it.
Yes, you did. You said submissive now to you in your household means respect.
I said it's me. I didn't say I wanted it. That's just what it means.
Well, nigga, we're not in a relationship. So guess what? You just gonna.
So don't tell me what I want then. If we ain't in no relationship,
you a hype ball, yo. You a hype big ball.
You got hype first, so I just brought it back. That's
okay.
all.
Devin, can I tell you something?
Who got you your glasses? That's what I'm gonna ask you. Who got you your glasses?
Can I tell you something? I'm really happy that I met you as an adult.
I know, because I'd have whooped this little ass.
I didn't act like this when I was younger.
Yes,
but what are you gonna say? Why, David? Why? Go ahead.
No, I was just making an observation.
That's a loaded, like, what the fuck does that mean? But I'm gonna leave that alone. Listen, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. This is a super sensitive subject. I'm not gonna even front. We're gonna revisit the word submissive though on our next episode so that you can fully understand what it means to us. Not necessarily with a deep definition, but maybe a sentence or two of saying, what does that really mean to Patton? What does that mean to me? And what does that really mean to Dev? Or Dave, rather, excuse me, Captain America. So thank y'all for y'all support. I hope we spiked or piqued your curiosity and questioning with that word, because that's our whole thing. We don't like the word. There's just certain things that each household we should be connected to and succinct with. And it's a relationship there. And I think if you go back and listen to this again, there's some very, very valuable points. I know I need to go back and listen to it as well. So thank y'all for your support. It's Tuesday, but this was a great mind melt, if you will, where you're just throwing out certain things. And that's a jab at somebody that I met. They was worried that I was gonna say that phrase, which I did. So I did, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's great mind melt, guys. Super great mind melt of collabing ideas and collabing information. Keep voting. Keep supporting, keep giving us 5 stars, keep the reviews coming, and thank y'all very much for y'all support, man. We're doing a great job, but we're trying to give y'all more content that can be helpful for us to be at our peak performance, all seriousness. So, guys, thank y'all very much. Love everybody. Make moves, move markets, believe bigger, faster. I got that right, but they don't care. So peace out, guys. Love y'all.